So if your silver recovery unit is running but does not seem to be pumping chemistry through the cartridge, the first thing you want to look at is to see that there's blockage on the inlet line. So basically, you'll look at the unit where the unit pumps chemistry into the tank and through this hose here. Looking at this hose here, you'll follow it all the way to the cartridge, and you want to look at this fitting right here. Because what can happen is if very little amounts of fixer is being pumped into the cartridge, or at least at a slow rate, the silver can settle at the bottom and cause buildup, which would then obviously block the chemistry from flowing freely into the cartridge. So you want to look at this fitting to see if there's any white buildup or buildup around the fitting or anything to conclude to you that it's not allowing chemistry to flow freely into the cartridge. So if it appears to be clear, then the next thing you want to look at is the cartridge itself. Run your hand up through the cartridge, and it should be straight. It's cylindrical, so it should be nice and smooth. If there appears to be a bulge in the cartridge, even a subtle bulge, what that's telling you is that the silver has completely fused. It's full. This cartridge is expired, and it's not going to allow the chemistry to run freely through the cartridge. If that's the case, you give us a call, and we come and we have to replace this cartridge. Now, if it's fine, if it's straight and it's flowing freely, the next thing you want to do is look at the exit line. This is the line that is taking the desilvered fix and then running it to the drain. So you'll follow this line all the way to your drain, and you're going to want to take it out of the drain. Now, be very careful. You want to probably put some towels or something to make sure that there's no mess. And you're going to take this drain line out, and you're going to have a look at the end. And at the end, you should be able to tell if there's any buildup. Now it's going to, show up and be very clear if there's buildup, if there's something that's blocking the chemistry from flowing freely into the drain. Now if there is, and you have sufficient length to still have adequate hose to run to your drain, you could just simply cut off the blocked portion. If that's not the case, you don't have enough length to give you a sufficient amount of hose to run through the drain, then you'll have to clear it. Whether you take a pipe cleaner or even bang it and bend it, it is a PVC hose, so you can move it and you can get those crustaceans out of there. So, once that's done, hopefully that solves the problem. If that's not the problem at all, if the drain line is free, then you've now concluded that chemistry has the ability to run freely through the entire cartridge. You've basically eliminated the possibility of problems being anything past the outlet line into the unit. So now you know that the problem exists inside the unit, and that can be only a couple of things. If you open this up, what you want to do is you look at your pump. Now in this case we're looking at a pulsatron pump, so a problem could be an airlock. That air has somehow got trapped inside of the pump and is no longer primed to the pump, so chemistry can no longer flow freely through the pump. So to investigate that, you want to then open up your tank and see if there's any chemistry in the tank. Now if there's not, then the components are easy to see. Now if there is chemistry in the tank, you're going to have to get some rubber gloves and get into the tank and then look at the inlet line. This is the line that allows the chemistry to run into the pump. There's a filter on here. You want to make sure that this is nice and clear. The chemistry has no problem getting into the pump. After that, you want to look at your float switch, which is here. This should be able to move up and down freely. Now what can happen is if silver has settled at the bottom of this tank and caused the float switch to stay in the upward position, it can run the tank dry. The pump will suck all of the chemistry out of the tank, and it will then start to begin to suck air, which then causes an airlock into the pump, obviously. So you want to make sure that both of those areas are clear. The float switch is working properly and the inlet line is clear and free to flow. Once you've done that, you can look at this valve here, which is going to allow air to run through the pump. So you're going to open that up all the way, and you might even see the chemistry begin to flow. And you wait, and once it begins to flow, you quickly turn it in the off position, which closes it from air. You've now primed the pump. It should see chemistry flow freely through this tube here and back into the cartridge. We should be good as new. If that's not the case, give us a call. It's something a little more complex, but that should give you enough information to self-diagnose your silver recovery system.